Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Luana English Podcast. I'm Luana, and as always, I'm thrilled to be here helping you level up your English. Today, we are tackling a monster of a topic, something that makes almost everyone's palms sweat. We're talking about public speaking anxiety, especially when you have to do it in a second language. And here with me to share his wisdom is the wonderful Josimar. How are you doing today, Josimar?
Hey, Luana. I'm doing great, thank you. And wow, you're not kidding. Speaking in public is stressful enough in your native tongue, but doing it in English, it can feel completely overwhelming. But don't worry, listeners, we've got some fantastic practical tips to help you get through it.
Absolutely. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive right in. You know, Josimar, I remember the first time I had to give a presentation entirely in English. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it was going to jump right out of my chest. My throat went completely dry. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, absolutely. I think anyone who says they don't get nervous is lying. It's a completely natural human reaction. In psychology, they call it the fight or flight response. Your brain perceives the audience as a threat, so your body pumps out adrenaline.
That explains a lot. But when you're an English learner, there's this extra layer of fear, right? You start overthinking. What if I forget a word? What if my accent is too thick? What if I make a grammar mistake and everyone judges me?
Exactly. It's that fear of making a fool of yourself. But here's the secret, Luana. The audience is actually on your side. They aren't sitting there waiting for you to trip up. They're there because they want to hear what you have to say. They want you to succeed.
That's a really comforting way to look at it. Shifting your mindset from they are judging me to they are listening to me changes everything. But okay, let's talk strategy. What is your absolute number one tip for someone preparing a presentation?
Preparation is key, but not the way most people think. Many learners try to write out their script word for word and memorize it. Luana, in my experience, that is a trap.
Oh, I agree 100%. Why do you think it breaks down?
Because if you memorize a script, the moment you forget one single word, your whole mind goes blank. You panic. Instead, it's much better to use bullet points with key phrases. You practice moving from one idea to the next, rather than one word to the next. It allows your English to flow much more naturally.
Yes, and if you get lost, you just glance at your bullet points to get back on track. Another thing that really helps me was learning how to embrace pauses. When we're nervous, we tend to rush through our words like we're running a marathon. We want it to be over quickly. But slowing down actually makes you sound more confident and gives you a second to think about your next sentence.
That is a brilliant point. A 2-second silence feels like an eternity to the speaker, but to the audience, it just sounds like a deliberate professional pause. It gives them time to process your message.
Let's transition into our deep dive for today. I want to look closely at some of the language structures we use when talking about anxiety and how we can use specific phrases to buy ourselves time during a presentation.
Great idea. Let's start with a classic phrase I used earlier, to go blank. I said, your whole mind goes blank. Notice the verb here. We use go to describe a sudden change in state. Your mind goes blank, vegetables go bad, a person goes bald. It means to suddenly become empty or lose something.
That's a really useful grammar pattern to notice. And what happens when your mind does go blank during your presentation? What can you actually say in English to save yourself without panicking?
The filler phrases. These are lifesavers for intermediate speakers. Instead of saying, for 10 seconds, you can use professional stalling phrases. For example, let me rephrase that. Where was I? Yes. Just to put that another way.
Oh, those are excellent. They sound so smooth. Another favorite of mine is, that's a great question. Let me just collect my thoughts for a second. It buys you 5 seconds of pure thinking time, and the audience thinks you're just being deeply analytical.
Exactly. You look completely in control. Another thing to look at is the cultural side of public speaking in English-speaking environments. In many English-speaking cultures, presentations are quite interactive and conversational. It's totally okay and actually encouraged to use phrasal verbs instead of just heavy formal vocabulary. You don't always have to say, we must investigate this issue. You can say, we need to look into this. It lightens the mood and makes you feel more relaxed.
It's that time of the episode, folks. Let's lock in what we learned today with our vocabulary summary. We've selected 5 fantastic intermediate words and idioms from our conversation.
Let's kick it off with number 1, to trip up, to make a mistake or to cause someone to make a mistake. Example, don't worry about the tricky questions at the end of your presentation. They aren't trying to trip you up.
2 is an idiom, to go blank, to suddenly be unable to remember something or think clearly. Example, as soon as the camera started rolling, my mind went totally blank and I forgot my own name. 4 is a phrasal verb, to look into, to investigate, research, or examine the facts about a situation. Example, if you are struggling with your accent, you should look into some pronunciation workshops online.
And 5 is deliberate, done consciously and intentionally, on purpose. Example, she spoke with a slow, deliberate rhythm so that everyone in the room could understand her clearly.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Before you go, here is your call to action for the week. We want you to choose just one of the vocabulary words we discussed today and write a sentence with it in the comments below. Or better yet, practice saying it out loud.
Yes, put it into practice right away. Remember, public speaking is a skill, not a talent. The more you do it, the easier it gets. You've got this.
Well said, Josemar. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with a friend who is working on their English. Until next time, keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye-bye, everyone.